Hey folks, this is Mark with Enemy Custom Fly Rod with Jacks and a little bit different scenery today, so stay tuned. So, this week I was able to actually get out from work and get out a little bit early, had some things going on, so loaded up the truck with the new topper, and Jax and I hit the road on down to Beaver's Bend. And since I was out of the Redwood Empire, I got to bring a new bottle. So this week, I just thought I would touch base a little bit and keep the stupid YouTube algorithms doing their normal thing by making sure I keep a video up and enjoy a fine drink and cover a few more questions that I did get. And that was one of them was dang. A few more on the wraps. One of them, I had a question on under wraps, which is when you completely run wraps first, then put your guide on, and then wrap over, holding it down. And sometimes that is done on big rods. I've seen it done on some bass fishing rods. It is generally done on the offshore rods, but not really on fly rods. I haven't seen it done. It will slow the action down a little bit, which is what you're trying to not do. You want to keep that action moving, and that actually will show a difference by setting up two sets of wraps on there, so it'll slow it on up, which once again will get us into the questions of single guideposts or snakes. So I personally run both. It will all kind of depend on the rod. On a rod that will, and this is a deep, amazingly yummy. On the rod that is going to get a lot of, that I know is going to get a lot of abuse, I will go snake guides for certain. On a rod that I know is going to kind of be more of a showpiece, and I know it's going to be more delicate, I will for certain go with single foot. Single foot, I believe, will perform better, but they are more delicate. There is one exception to that, which is on the what I showed last time on the graphite single foot guides. Those will have some give, and those are going to be, they're new, so they may be the best of both worlds. Time will tell on those, so we'll see. But I'm kind of at the point where if Gary Loomis is saying these are the greatest and best things out there, I'm gonna kind of have to go with that as most likely probably the truth. He is, after all, the most copied, rod builder, not only fly rods, bass rods, offshore rods, trolling rod, you name the rod out there, people copy his rods. I mean, Google the question for yourself, or ask, Chat GPT, who's the most copied or who's the most influential rod builder in the world. It's going to tell you Gary Loomis. So take that for what it's worth. I have a dog that does not like flies and lightning bugs. And he's on the hunt. So, that being said, one of the other questions I had was once again on the epoxy. Which epoxy? I generally use Flex Coat, the high build. I like the high build because I can get the job done in 2 wraps. A lot of people buy it because they quote get it done in 1, but I don't do that because I thin the first coat out with acetone, and that is done to let the get really. I can get it super thin to let it soak down into the wraps. That way, the wraps will stick directly to the rod, and then you will never have an issue with slippage, which I've seen on some, even on commercial rods, because they just put the epoxy straight down on top, get it in, crank it out the door. So I personally use Flex Coat. I know U40 is one. I do like U40's. The way it flows is really good. And I'm trying to think whether there's another one that's out there that's really good. I will have to get back to you. But yeah, I'm sorry. I will just have to get back to you on that one. But yeah, Flex Coat is one I generally prefer using, and U40 I do like. Now U40 for if you are going to, like you've seen me do the rod, you put a coating on the rod. Like I've done green, I've done purple, I've done the Crown Royal Purple. Just putting a gloss coat on the carbon just to make it shiny, makes it look pretty. There is debate on that as well. It puts weight to it. I don't see not much, but to each their own. So there are other rod makers out there that you look at them like Winston. All the rods are green. Well, theoretically, yes, that adds weight to it. So there you go. And they do make it awfully fine rod, but the North Fork rods that I build, since I've got the contract with them, and although none of this is paid by them, but that's generally 90% of the blanks that I use are from them. So, and that's generally where I kind of push people, just because I know their quality and I can stand behind them, and I know their warranty, and I know if the blank breaks, that they're going to stand behind, the the breaks. Let them know. They send me out a new part, remake it, and there's really not much of a questions asked about it. So, as opposed to other commercial blanks, I've had issues with their no questions asked warranty. All of a sudden, it's like, well, yeah, it's no questions asked warranty, but yeah, that brake looks a little bit suspicious, so it's easier for you just to buy the new section then, but you can send the part in, and if we deem that it's not what we see here, it's going to be they don't play those games. So that being said, I will leave you there. So far down here in Beaver's Bend, it's fishing's been fairly good. It was slow the first couple of hours. My took a little bit to dial everything in. Stopped at the fly shop on the way in, and of course, they're very helpful down here. And I got tips on the flies, and they told me zebra midges were hot. That the red, the brown, and the black were hitting it. So I went ahead and bought some to pay for their advice. Never leave the fly shop without buying something if you're going to ask for their advice. Yes, their advice is technically free, but they're to keep our local fly shops open, support them. So I bought some flies and bought a couple floats. And there's a new brand of like Oros out there. It's not Oros. Um, I'll talk about that later. But I got it on the water, not a thing. So I went into my thing, which I've had luck down here before with, trying RS2s, nothing. Everything I tried, nothing. I did get some hits off believe it or not, I tried mini leeches, black mini leech, nothing. I said, let me go ahead and try this. And I went ahead and tried a brown, like a reddish brown mini leech. And I got 2 right off of that. I'm like, okay. And then nothing else off of that. So I went back, and this was because I got here last night. I tried that for a couple hours. So I started again this morning, kept that as my dropper on the bottom, and put on some more. Put on a zebra midge, put on a yellow one, caught one on there on a yellow zebra midge. Nothing went back to what Fly Shop said. Maybe it was early morning, time of day or something. Went back through their colors, not a thing. Even tried to mop worms, different colors that they suggested, nothing, not a thing. Looking around, nobody's catching a thing. I'm just like, what in the world? I was like, okay, let's go back to the basics. And for me, the basics are put on a rainbow warrior and a pheasant tail. And boom, that was the ticket. That pheasant tail was just pheasant tail for me. Just kind of seems to be the thing that I would always used to catch a lot of fish on, and that was it. So, kind of like when my son came on down to Oklahoma from Colorado to go out bass fishing, and we always kind of had a joke. It's like, you always catch, no matter what you're throwing, always throw something with white and chartreuse and you'll catch it. We were throwing everything and no luck, couldn't get anything. And finally switched to a white and chartreuse clouser. Bang. That's just what it is. Sometimes just going back to the very start is all you need to do. So I will sign it out from there. And sometimes, like me, you need to take a mental break and get away from it all. So I will see you back in the shop next week, and take friends and family fishing. Take yourself fishing for that good mental break, and maybe a little bit of adult libations.